Tonight, oyster farmers on the EP plead for a relief package to help combat the deadly POMS outbreak. And a couple from the UK braving the region's heat on a mammoth ride around the globe.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. First tonight, CFS crews are continuing to battle a bushfire which sparked an emergency warning in the Clare Valley this afternoon. Residents were informed to take action late this afternoon as the MU flat fire travelled in a southerly and easterly direction towards Clare, Gillentown, Spring Gully and other nearby townships. Details can be found on the CFS website or, for the very latest, the Bushfire Information Hotline 1300 362 361. The impact of the Tasmanian POMS disease has hit Coffin Bay, with around 70 jobs lost due to oyster shortages. Farmers are pleading with the state government for a relief package to help keep the industry afloat.
Michael Willis has been growing oysters for 28 years, but he's never seen a year like this.
Definitely the worst period we've had.
The wash-up from the Tasmanian POMS outbreak has hit Coffin Bay farmers hard.
We're hearing about 70 jobs lost in Coffin Bay alone, and of course Coffins is just one of the bays around Eyre Peninsula that produce oysters.
The industry is set to lose up to $40 million per year while the shortage continues.
Some people will be really scratching and relying on outside money to keep going.
Spat production on the EP will likely take 18 months to fill the void. All the while, bills continue to stack up for farmers.
Have maintenance to keep going, they've got to keep their boats going, keep their leases up to scratch, still deal with what they have, still grade them. So it's all outgoing money at this stage without any incoming money.
The member for Flinders has requested a relief package from the state government to help freeze upcoming licence fees.
It works out to about $258,000 in total for the year. Now, for a government, it's not a whole lot of money.
While recently visiting Spat Farms on the EP, the Premier responded.
We're very sympathetic to the plight of oyster growers and we'll give that early consideration.
But that was 2 weeks ago.
Cards are on the table now. What I'm asking is that the government stop procrastinating and give our growers an answer on this issue.
Mr Shalor says if the Liberals take office in March, they'll support growers. But in the meantime, the industry is barely hanging on.
It'll be dribs and drabs for some time until such time as there is a major supply of spat. So we're probably looking at 12 to 18 months.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
4 hydro projects in the development pipeline have been boosted by a $9 million government grant. Altogether, the ventures could potentially create 755 megawatts for the grid and 600 jobs during construction. John Hunt explains.
Pumped hydro is the process of moving water upstream during low-cost electricity before moving it downstream through turbines to generate power during high demand. 4 proposed schemes in the Upper Spencer Gulf have moved a step closer to reality thanks to state government funding. $9 million will be shared between the proposals to help get them moving forward. Altura Resources will receive nearly $5 million for redevelopment activities on a project at Goat Hill outside Port Augusta, ahead of a final investment decision. Rise Renewables will get $3 million to support a $6 million engineering and design project for a proposed facility at Baruta Reservoir near Port Germain. Energy Australia has received $500,000 towards its proposed $500 million hydro plant at Kultana, while GFG Alliance will also pocket $500,000 for work on a study on pumped hydro in the Iron Duchess mine outside Whyalla. In a statement, Treasurer Tom Koutsantonis says the investment will accelerate projects to help get them moving, helping boost baseload power when demand is high. GFG's Sanjeev Gupta also welcomed the funding. Simex Zen Energy will work on the Iron Duchess proposal, using its technology to develop it. It's hoped the funding will help with the flow of all 4 plans, pushing them downstream towards reality.
Whyalla's Mayor Lynn Brewer is set to return to her role. She took leave last week to deal with assault allegations levelled against her by Angela Antonio, the wife of councillor and SA Best candidate for Giles, Tom Antonio. Whyalla Council last night confirmed she's announced her intention to return on February 19. She's received summons to appear in court next month. The statement says the Mayor has engaged lawyers and will be fighting the matter. 4 boys have been arrested following a break-in in Whyalla. Just before 5 o'clock yesterday morning, officers say the 4 teens broke into a home on Hawke Street. The victim confronted the group, managing to restrain one of them while the others fled. The group then returned and allegedly assaulted the victim before making off. He wasn't seriously injured, and officers managed to track down the group a short time later. All 4 faced court today. A motion for a Senate inquiry into the fairness of the radioactive waste debate has received the go-ahead. The politician behind the calls say the communities at the proposed dump sites at Kimber and Hawker need to be heard.
Amid concerns of transparency surrounding the dump debate, Senator Rex Patrick says local residents will finally get their say.
They'll get to have their say under parliamentary privilege, which means they're not constrained in what they present to the committee.
How broad community support is being measured for the waste facilities will be put under the microscope.
There's been a controversy in both Hawker and Kimber over whether or not the process used to establish broad community support is fair, and the inquiry has been set up to examine that process.
Senator Patrick believes the inquiry will make sure locals have a fair go.
Well, we want to make sure that when we get to the end of the process, whether the answer is yes or no, everyone feels that the process was fair.
The Senate committee is encouraging individuals in the area to send in their submissions.
They will determine who ought to be heard at oral hearings that will be conducted in Hawker and Kimber.
The final report and outcome is expected in August. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
After the break, Broken Hill locals notice a new retail experience around town. The details next. BHP's upgraded Olympic Dam smelter has officially opened, with the new facility to start producing at full capacity by March. It's good news for our region, with jobs and work expected to flow down to businesses in the Upper Spencer Gulf.
An all-star cast of business and political elite gathered for BHP's unveiling of its upgraded smelter. The $350 million redevelopment will boost profitability and quality of product, with production set to get underway next month.
Today marks a pivot point for Olympic Dam and BHP in South Australia. We're very proud South Australians.
The company also used the shutdown to upgrade the refinery, concentrator and other key components of the site. 3,100 jobs were created in the short term, with workers and contractors from across the Upper Spencer Gulf working on the project. The job creation welcomed by the Premier.
Yeah, and it's a cause of great celebration. 30 years they've been at this site, and much longer association with the state of South Australia.
An estimated 10% of the workforce already calls our region home. There could be more to come, with job expos held at Port Augusta last year to fill up to 120 positions across Olympic Dam. A local buying program is also now open for contractors in our region, with $100 million of work on offer.
We're proud to be South Australians. We contribute significantly to the economy. We generate jobs every day.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Sporting clubs around SA will share in more than $10 million to upgrade their facilities. The state government initiative is designed to increase the number of people playing sport, leading to more active communities.
A boost for sporting clubs across the state.
We want to really get behind all of these sporting clubs and make sure that they've got fantastic facilities.
The state government has injected millions into playing surfaces and sporting facilities. The fund's a welcome hit on the EP.
It's terrific to see this money going into the synthetic bowling green at Cow Bowling Club, at the Port Lincoln Tennis Association and the Ungarn District Community Sports Club. 3 really good clubs on the Eyre Peninsula, and they thoroughly deserve this. And
the grants are designed to get more people healthy and active and keep the youth off the streets.
If people are out being active, they've got to be healthier, and particularly if the youth have something to concentrate on and be part of a team or be part of a sport, then they're much less likely to be out there offending.
The latest wave of grants follows other funding on the Eyre Peninsula to replace the old hockey turf at the Ravendale Sports Complex.
We've been helping the clubs over there for more than a decade in making sure that they have good facilities and that the facilities are upgraded as well. That's always.
And applications are still open for other clubs looking for support.
Ask everyone over on the Eyre Peninsula if they've got a need around their sporting club. don't hesitate to get in contact with us and put in an application because...
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Broken Hill locals are reporting a more Parisian feel around the town's main thoroughfare. The northern end of Argent Street has seen a boost in business recently, off the back of new shops opening up.
Flowers, art and coffee. It's the urban chic section of Argent Street.
Being a little bit out of the CBD, it just makes it a lot easier.
Emily Keenan is the manager of the Silly Goat Cafe, which recently moved further down the city's main drag. Now at its new location across from the art gallery, business is booming.
Down this end there is a lot more parking that's available for longer periods of time. That's definitely one of the pros.
The boutique stores are catching the eye of locals and tourists, with foot traffic increasing exponentially in the area.
We've got plenty of people that are coming in to get flowers, but also people that are just wandering past that want to pop in and just have a bit of a browse, which is great.
We get a lot of people who come in and say, oh, I'm just going to have a look around while I'm waiting for my coffee, and it's great.
But Emily says despite the boutique outlets, flowing coffees and endless Instagram posts, it's still Broken Hill, not Paris.
I'd call it more the Melbourne end of Broken Hill. I think that the cafe culture all over the country is thriving already, and it's just nice to be able to sort of step up to that quality.
No need for an Eiffel Tower. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, a couple from the UK undertaking quite the ride through the region. Our details next. Two cyclists from the UK are braving the region's stifling heat as they complete their journey around the globe. It's all for a good cause though. They're spreading the message of the importance of mental health.
Cycling in the region's extreme temperatures is certainly mind over matter, and this couple is raising money and awareness for mental health.
We thought we'd do it to benefit a cause that meant a lot to us.
It's a cause close to home. Before leaving Glasgow, Mike worked long, stressful hours as a solicitor.
There was a period where I took 3 months off work for depression and anxiety.
The couple naming their journey Ever East.
So when I met Mike and you'd said you also wanted to go around the world, it kind of just clicked and we started planning it on our second date. And here we are.
The pair's been on the road for 10 months now. They started in Scotland, moving east to China, to Singapore and then Perth. Next, they plan to fly to America before finishing back in Europe. They're encouraging people to donate to UK mental health organisation Mind along the way.
There's also a couple of similar organisations. So there's Beyond Blue and Black Dog. So if people were more inclined, I suppose, to donate to something local, then we'd encourage them to donate to one of the local Australian organisations.
Details are on our Facebook page. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Well, some different but familiar faces are behind the bar at the Silverton Hotel this month while the owners take a break. Country music star Catherine Britt and her husband have once again taken the reins of the iconic Bush pub.
From recording hits in the studio to taking chicken schnitty orders at a country pub.
It's hot, but it's good to be here.
While Silverton hotel owners Peter and Patsy Price take a well-deserved vacation, four-time gold guitar winner Catherine Britt and her husband have come to lend a hand.
Well, we come in and sort of give them a bit of a holiday and let them, relieve them, I guess, because they don't get that ever. And they work very hard, so 7 days a week,
It's not the first time the couple have poured pints, stepping behind the bar last year too.
Yeah, mate, we love it. Didn't take us too long to settle back in this time.
And this time there's a new face. He might be young, but little Hank is already at home in the outback.
I think he enjoys it. He loves the ceiling here, that's for sure. He's always looking up and checking out all the pub slang, the pub sayings.
At the end of the month, Catherine will take to the stage with a raft of country music artists for the Silverton Sunsets Music Festival. Live acoustic music set amongst the beautiful backdrop that is Silverton, and tickets are selling fast.
It's going to be an amazing weekend. The artists are all really excited about coming out.
In Silverton, Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Time now for fishing tips.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jaw of the North. Well, it's really heating up. The tide's about to go into Dodge Tide, so what I'd be doing is going down to the Seabird, trying down there for some snapper, and also try drifting across the top of the Tyre Reef as well. Crabs, massive crabs at the moment, really big, full of meat, so go out and get amongst those. Silver whiting as usual this time of year. There's also some big flathead along the shores on the big tides in the morning.
Hi, Whalers Fishing Report this week. There has been absolute abundance of crabs right through Whyalla. Every single boat has been pretty much getting their limit this week, so definitely the time to get out amongst the crabs. They're very thick both north and south of Whyalla, even out towards the Point Lowly area as well. Land-based raking, now's the time to get into it. There's some good crabs to be raked up along the foreshore and further down towards Cowlard's Landing. For the snapper, there's been a few bigger fish coming from further grounds down south. Hot tippies fish the deeper water, especially this weekend with the late tides. And there's still been a few King George whiting coming in out front of Mount Young. A lot of pest fish down there, but if you fish through them, you can still pick up some nice whiting.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Well, locally in the bay, the fishing's been a little bit tough over the past week. Most people have been chasing some crabs, and they have been getting a few crabs, but the whiting are pretty slow at the moment. Outside of the bay, the better whiting catches have come from out of the group, and there's been some good sized garfish out there as well. Down on the offshore ground south of Port Lincoln, the tuna have been a little bit patchy around the Cabbage Patch and around the Neptunes. The tuna have been better over the Coffin Bay side lately, with Perforated Island and the hummocks all producing fish. On the beaches, the stretch between Greenley Beach and up through Convention Beach to Point Drummond has seen some salmon around about the 1 to 2 kilo range, so there's been quite a few fish through there. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you again with more fishing tips next week.
Well, stay with us after the break. We'll have all the local weather details with Amy. And has the heat settled back in around the Gulf, Amy?
It does indeed look that way, Fraser, with temperatures staying quite high around the Spencer Gulf as we head towards the weekend. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. It was another hot day in Port Augusta, 43 the top there. Whyalla reached 42, while Port Lincoln experienced a milder top of 34. Adelaide crept into the high 30s, while temperatures remained quite high in all other centres. Checking the satellite, and the hot air mass over the state is keeping skies clear. Despite cloud over far southern South Australia, it won't bring any rain. If you're planning on cooling off on the waters tomorrow, there will be a southerly wind up to 15 knots, seas will reach 1 metre and the sun will pop up at 6:47. Taking a look at conditions for tomorrow, and Port Augusta is in for another warm day, reaching 44, while residents in Whyalla can expect tops of 41. Temperatures will hover in the 40s in Woodna and Corn, and it will remain slightly cooler in Port Lincoln with a top of 33. Meanwhile, Broken Hill can expect 42, with temperatures continuing to creep towards the 40s in all other districts. Looking towards next week, and Port Lincoln can expect cooler temperatures with showers on Sunday and a top of 24. Cleve will hover in the mid-20s on Sunday and Monday, while Woodna will remain a little warmer and a top of 30 at the start of next week. Further up the Gulf, and temperatures in Whyalla will reach 27 on Sunday and Monday. Port Augusta will continue to have temperatures in the 30s, while Kadina will drop to 28 on Monday. After a warm weekend in Port Pirie, a milder 29 on Monday is expected, while Clare will reach 27. Meanwhile, Broken Hill will hover in the 30s early next week, after 42 on Saturday. So Fraser, while the heat will hang around over the weekend, slightly cooler days are on the way early next week around the Spencer Gulf.
Good to hear. Thanks, Amy. And that's all from the newsroom for now. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates later. Until then, good night.